Hello everyone and welcome to my balcony, aka don't have a balcony, so this is just what I pretend. Don't have a balcony or a rooftop, so I like to come out to my old college campus. Something I've been doing a lot lately that I love to do is sending handwritten notes, cards, letters. I have these notes, and then you just write whatever you want and then you send it off to whoever you want. So I've been doing these little notes, and the reason why I love doing this is because we're in a time when we can't physically be together with friends and family, but there's something so special about a handwritten card in the mail because it's like you touched it, you wrote it, and it's going to them. It's just more meaningful than a text or a call or even FaceTime. It's like, yeah, you can see them, but there's still that distance. So I feel like these tangible physical things, in a way, break down the distance. Alright, we're here with Father John Paul. This is the live stream setup. This is the professional setup. Each week, I feel like the production value just gets better and better.
Production value!
Gastos. What is gastos?
The economic, the way what we use for the maintenance of the church.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting out by the river and there's these Canadian geese that just floated by, like right in front of me. Me, the one who gets lost from the group and left behind because they're getting distracted and just looking at random things along the way, and then they realize they're super far behind. It's one of those days where I just needed to come out and get some fresh air and relax, and honestly it's so amazing when you lose track of time and you're not checking your phone, you're not looking at screens, you're just enjoying the moment and your surroundings. And it's such a beautiful day. So I've been cleaning my room and organizing, and this brings me so much peace. This was a huge step, but I had junk, like just old mail, old papers piled up. This whole thing was just filled. So now it's just books that I use, planners, journals, things I use on a regular basis. And then this is organized. It used to just be a huge mess. All the pens were just scattered in here. So I have just like various office supply type of things. And then this took so long to clean out, but it was filled with all these old papers and random stuff. So I put my paint supplies in here for now, and then a stack of blank papers. So exciting that one of my favorite coffee shops reopened, so I got an iced coffee. And it made me think of those little simple joys in life, like watching milk swirl into your coffee. Iced coffee drinkers will understand, like when you pour the milk and you just watch it swirl into the coffee. It's those simple little joys that we don't miss. I mean, we don't realize how much we miss until we don't have it anymore. Came outside to have a nice little lunch. So I got this chicken, rice, balsamic, and iced coffee again. And every day I check the weather forecast, and it's like upper 60s, early 70s. It seems like it's going to be really nice, really warm. And there's always this cold, windy chill in the air. So we're still in that springtime transition to summer, but I prefer this much more than the really hot summer days. So still enjoying it. I am so excited about this. They just put a little city bike dock at the end of my street, so now I can get a bike anytime. Because the thing is, I used to have to walk down. Gross. Why you must always pay attention to where you're walking, because there was just a freshly squished pigeon on the sidewalk in the middle, so always be careful. Such a perfect day. I came out to my college, or my old college campus. They have this big giant field area in the middle, which is super nice. There's definitely a lot more people out than used to be when I would come out here. So either people are either trying to discover that it's here, or that they're just not as scared, which I think it's happening a lot in New York, because people or over that initial fear. And I think now people are, or maybe just warmed up to the idea of social distancing and wearing masks outside and that type of thing. So I think I see a lot more people out for that reason. I actually made, well, I discussed this in a previous video, of that annoyance of when people are in my spot. Like there's this one little place that I like to go to, and now there's always someone there. It used to always be empty, and it was like my little secret, but the secret is out, I guess. So I'm figuring out this home studio situation, and what I realized is I really need to adjust my camera settings because I got this light. I have this like softbox light, but I notice when I turn it on, my skin is just so white and everything's so fluorescent looking. But I really need to play with my camera settings to figure that out. Color temp. See if this makes a difference. Now I'm just blue, so that did not help.
But your face is turning blue. Violet, you're turning violet, Violet!
What are you talking about?
I told you I hadn't got it quite right yet.
At first I was going the wrong direction, then I turned blue. That's how you make it warmer. So I just figured out. My eyes just looked really black and beady. Oh, you can actually see the brown. Okay, that's better. Okay, starting to look a little more human-like. I'm looking at this footage now on my computer and it looks a little too dark and orangey. I don't know. I'm gonna need to play with the settings some more. The thing about these high quality setups though is like you can see everything, like every frizz in your hair. You can see your contacts, your eyebrows that haven't been done professionally in a really long time, but you've been doing them yourself and getting by. Just everything, every like blemish. Just ignore the sunburn. Anyway, so I was in my room earlier, feeling really annoyed how couldn't get the lighting to look good, couldn't get my setup to look good. The usual frustrations of technical difficulties. And then I open up Twitter. There's this priest that I follow named Father Goyo, and he tweets this. He says, "I don't have podcast, YouTube channel, Instagram interviews, teaching webinars, theology talks, blogs, or vlogs. But every day, during Holy Hour, I pray for all of you, social media parishioners." And I just thought that was so nice. And something about that brought me so much comfort. I was like, you know what? Here I am stressing out that my video setup doesn't work, but here's this priest praying for me in his Holy Hours. Now, I mean, I'm not his parishioner, but I just love how he said, "I pray for all of you, social media parishioners." It kind of makes me think everyone who's following him on Twitter is like his social media parishioner. But yeah, and then right after that, I was like, you know what? Everything's gonna be okay. Then I watched some tutorials on tips on how to make your home studio setup look better. It looks like it's starting to rain. Hopefully it doesn't start raining, but... So I'm currently reading the autobiography of Saint Therese, The Story of a Soul. And in it, she has a little part where she writes about emotions she was going through and how her outer world often, like the weather, reflected what she was going through on the inside. This week really took a turn for the worst. I was scrolling through Facebook and I kept seeing these articles of a story of a man named George Floyd who was killed by an officer, and there were these videos that were going around, there were pictures, and in the moment I decided to keep scrolling. I was like, oh, this is really difficult, I don't want to watch this, I don't want to see this, I don't want to think about this. So I decided to keep scrolling and not think about it. And in that moment I thought to myself, this is such an example, and I know people deny that this is a thing, of white privilege, and oh, like, there's no such thing as white privilege, it's, you know... Yes, there is a such thing, and that is the fact that I can sit here and decide to willfully be ignorant of injustice and look the other way because it makes me sad, or it's difficult to watch, or I don't want to think about it in that moment. So I had that revelation. I was like, why am I choosing to look the other way? And I hate to admit that, you know, like, I don't want to, it's just, I'm just being honest. That's what I was thinking. So then I stopped and I was like, no, I thought to myself, who am I to sit here and turn the other way when there's such injustice happening? The least I can do is offer solidarity and to share in the pain of others, that pain and grief that I will never have to experience and I'll never understand, but so many other people do, who are victims of these horrible injustices. And so I think it's important that we really open our eyes to the problems that go on around us. Uh-oh. This rain is coming in. Okay, that was horrible. It just started pouring rain. I had to run over to this little roof thing. Anyway, where was I? What was I saying? Yeah, so I saw the post on Facebook about George Floyd, and yeah, so I watched the video and it was so disturbing, so heartbreaking, so sad and disgusting and horrific that these past few days I cried in my room for probably a solid couple hours after I watched this video. And these past couple days I've just been like crying on and off again. It's like this grief, when you lose a family member or someone who's close to you or a friend, you'll understand this grief of like, you think you're okay and then like something just hits you and you start crying, or you just have a memory and you think about them and something makes you really emotional. That's how I've been feeling lately with this man who is not, I don't know him, he's not a family to me, but I feel this weight, this collective pain and suffering and injustice, and it's so horrible and it's so sad, and just watching that video was so hard to watch. It's just so deeply upsetting. And what's more upsetting to me is also some of the reactions of people. We were at a place where I feel like things were looking up. I was like, okay, I usually hate the election years, I hate politics, I hate these, you know, both sides going at each other about certain things. And this year, one of the silver linings of this pandemic happening during an election year was all of a sudden people stopped talking about politics as much, and it seemed like for once we were really starting to unite. Like, it seems like we were united in this one thing. We're all going through this together. It seemed like we were more united than we ever have been. Like, all of a sudden, all these petty things people complain about kind of went away. But now, so I saw the video of George Floyd in the evening, and earlier that day I saw another video of this woman in Central Park who had her dog off the leash, and a man who was bird watching asked her, like, can you put your dog back on the leash? I don't know exactly what, you know, something along those lines is what I was reading about. And so in the video she was like, I'm gonna call the police, I'm gonna tell them an African American man is threatening my life, and she calls the police with this, like, you know, oh, come save me, I'm being threatened, my life is in danger by a black man, that kind of thing. And it's so disgusting how this is happening in New York City. Really upsetting. The city that I live in, seeing this happen in Central Park, in a time when I really thought things were starting to look up. We were all coming together, you know, we're all having this collective experience. But no, these things happen. And then I see people on Twitter going at each other, and then I see people on Facebook going at each other, and then you see people taking sides with this officer, or, you know, oh, race, you know, I don't see color. I've been so upset these past couple days. I was gonna upload a video. I was going through this week editing my vlog, and I'm like, I need to talk about this. I can't just edit, I can't put up a video acting like everything's fine. This week really took a turn for the worst, and I'm thinking of, what do we do? What are the solutions? Like, how do we heal from this? And it's just problems that keep happening over and over and over, and I think that's why I'm so exhausted, is that what's the solution? What do we do? Sure, we can make these videos, we can voice our opinion, we can go to protests, we can write letters, we can make phone calls, we can, you know, make signs and march and have these movements, but in the end of the day, it keeps happening. So I was thinking about this and reflecting on this, and then it occurred to me, on Sunday, we celebrate Pentecost, and I think about the Holy Spirit and the coming of the Holy Spirit, and I just pray so deeply that everyone can just, the Spirit can just come and heal and unify. Because I think of all the divisions. You think of fighting and division, but the Holy Spirit brings about unity. So I pray for that. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at this week. Just really exhausted, mentally, emotionally, just tired. It's been hard to sleep lately. I'm not really doing well right now, but a lot of people, I think about the little grief that I experience and the pain seems nothing in comparison to others, but that's what I've been going through, just really upset. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.